Respiratory system. To understand the process of breathing. In humans, the main organs responsible for respiration are present in the thoracic cavity. In the thorax region, the rib cage and a dome-shaped fibrous tissue, known as the diaphragm, are observed. Present within the rib cage are the pleural membranes, which enclose the lungs. The right lung is divided into 3 lobes: the right superior, right middle, and the right inferior lobe. The left lung is smaller and has only 2 lobes, the left superior and the left inferior lobe. Both the lungs are associated externally with small tubular bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. The trachea has incomplete C-shaped rings of cartilage, which prevent the tracheal wall from collapsing. The trachea leads into the pharynx, which is connected to the nostrils. As we breathe in air, the oxygen molecules enter the nostrils and travel downwards through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. Within the lungs, the bronchus divides repeatedly to form bronchioles. Oxygen travels through these bronchioles and reaches the alveoli, each of which is surrounded by a network of capillaries. A section of one alveolus shows the presence of numerous alveolar chambers with pores. Blood, containing RBCs, is seen flowing through the capillaries. The oxygen molecules from the alveolus diffuse into the capillary and then get absorbed by the bluish-purple RBCs. This causes oxygenation of the RBCs, and a transition in their color from bluish-purple to red is observed. The blood moving into the alveolus contains RBCs and carbon dioxide molecules. These molecules are released into the alveolus. The carbon dioxide collects in the alveolar chamber. And then from the alveolus, it travels through the bronchioles into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea, and is breathed out through the nostrils. So the process of breathing in air rich in oxygen is called inhalation. After the contraction of the muscular diaphragm, the lungs expand, and the air rushes in, resulting in the inflation of the alveoli. During exhalation, the diaphragm moves up and the lungs contract. Thus, the alveoli deflate, causing the air to be forced out. This exhaled air is rich in carbon dioxide. This process of inhalation and exhalation is known as respiration, which is approximately 20 times per minute. Summary. In the thorax region, the rib cage and the diaphragm are observed, which play a vital role in respiration. Present within the rib cage are the pleural membranes, which enclose the lungs. The right lung consists of 3 lobes, while the left lung has only 2 lobes. Both the lungs are associated externally with bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. As we breathe, the oxygen molecules enter the nostrils and travel downwards through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchus, oxygen travels into the lungs. Within the lungs, the bronchus divides repeatedly to form bronchioles. Oxygen travels through these bronchioles and reaches the alveoli, each of which is surrounded by a network of capillaries. As blood flows through the capillaries, the oxygen molecules from the alveolus diffuse into the capillary. This causes oxygenation of the RBCs. The carbon dioxide molecules are released into the alveolus. They are collected in the alveolar chamber, and then from the alveolus, it travels through the bronchioles. Into the bronchus, which finally reaches the trachea and is breathed out through the nostrils.
Hi there! Can you guess what I am? I'll give you a hint. I have a very important job inside your body, and your heart helps me to do my job. I'm a red blood cell. My job is so important that you'll thank me for it later. But I can't take all the credit. Without your heart, I couldn't do a thing. You see, I'm like a little delivery truck in your body. I pick up and drop things off all the time. I ride the highways of something called the circulatory system. I like to call it the circle system because I keep going in circles. This system is made of your heart and blood vessels that carry your blood to different areas of your body. Your blood vessels are like tiny tunnels that run all through your body. They are made up of arteries that take oxygen to places in your body and veins that take carbon dioxide from your body to your lungs. This is my highway. But I can't move by myself. I move within your blood when it moves. How does your blood move, you ask? Why, your heart pumps it. Let me show you how. Your heart is the most important muscle in your body. It moves by itself, and even though you can hardly feel it, it keeps moving all the time, even when you are sleeping. Want to feel your heart move? Sit very still and put your hand on your chest. If you're running hard or exercising, you might find it easier to feel. When your heart moves, it's called a heartbeat. Your heart makes at least 100,000 heartbeats every day. When your heart beats, it pulls blood into it and pushes it out again. This helps the blood to move fast enough to go through your whole body and back. And it helps me to pick up my deliveries and take them to different places in your body. I'm not alone in there. There are lots of red blood cells just like me doing the same thing in your body all the time, even now while I'm talking to you. Here's me at the start of my little journey. I just got back from dropping off some things to some places in your body. I need to get some more speed to do more deliveries, so I ride your bloodstream into your heart. Going through the heart is easy because the heart has special rooms and doors that only open one way. Right now, I am entering the right side of the heart. I go through the first room called the right atrium, through the first door called the tricuspid valve, and through the second room called the right ventricle, and through the second door called the pulmonary valve. The heartbeat causes the heart to squeeze the blood in these rooms into the next area. It pushes the blood through it and into the arteries like tunnels that lead to other parts of the body. So now I am moving a little faster because the heart has given me a push. Now I need to go and pick up the things I need to deliver. My first stop is to the lungs. I need to pick up a little oxygen molecule to take to some place in the body. Everybody needs oxygen. Our lungs bring it into our body, and then I pick it up and take it to where it's needed. It seems like it would be tricky to pick up the oxygen, but the lungs really help me with that job. You see, Here in the body, we all work together and cooperate to keep everything running smoothly. When I get to the lungs, I'm not really this big, it's just easier to see me this way. And I get really close to the sides of my little tunnel. The oxygen that is sort of floating out of the walls nearby just jumps onto me for the ride. When enough of it has hopped on and I can't hold anymore, then I'm ready to go back to the heart for another push. Know what? This all happened so fast that it's even faster than blinking. So now, this time, I need to go on the other side of the heart. This side is for all of us red blood cells that are carrying oxygen. The heart pushes us a little farther this time because some of us have a very long trip. I go in through the first room called the left atrium, through the mitral valve doorway, and into the left ventricle room to get my big push. Then out I go and on my journey. I like my job because I get to travel. Here I am making a delivery in the foot area. All I have to do is draw near to the tunnel wall and the oxygen will just jump out of my truck and squeeze out of the tunnel. It's pretty neat to watch. While this is happening, I also make another pickup. Carbon dioxide needs to be taken up to the lungs so that the body can get rid of it by breathing out. And I'm just the cell to do it. I grab some and off I go again. Going back up to the heart is a little tricky because I need to ride up. It's kind of like climbing a hill. Because of this, the veins have little trapdoors called valves that only open one way. This stops me from floating in the wrong direction. So I keep going up and up as the heart keeps beating and pushing the bloodstream along. Eventually, I get back to the heart again where I get ready to drop off the carbon dioxide in the lungs and get a good push to get me going on another pickup. So that's my job. What do you think? Pretty important, isn't it? The heart really helps me to do my job well.
The respiratory system's main functions include transporting air into and out of the lungs, protecting the body against harmful particles that are inhaled, and its most important function, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. So it's basically about breathing. Now let's take a look at a diagram and we'll go through the respiratory system's main components. Starting here with the nose and nasal cavity, the mouth or oral cavity. The pharynx is here, and it is what we consider the throat. The pharynx is considered part of the digestive system as well as the respiratory system, and it connects the respiratory openings to the larynx and esophagus. The esophagus is not part of the respiratory system, and I'll get to why I put it in the diagram in a minute. Next we have the larynx, which is also called the voice box because the vocal cords are located here. The trachea, also called the windpipe, is here, and it connects to the bronchi, which merge into smaller tubes called bronchioles. And the bronchioles connect to tiny air sacs called alveoli. And then down here is the diaphragm. Now let's go through a very basic look at what happens during the breathing process. So air is breathed in through the nose or mouth. When it enters through the nose, it gets spread out by these shelf-like things here called conchi. The conchi help humidify the air and trap some inhaled particles. They also warm the air. The air next passes through the pharynx and enters the trachea. One note here. This little flap-like structure is called the epiglottis, and it has an important function. During breathing, it is pointed upward, allowing airflow into the trachea. However, during swallowing, it folds down to prevent food from going into the trachea, directing the food into the esophagus. If food does enter the trachea, the gag reflex is induced to protect the respiratory system. The epiglottis here, this little thing, shows you how amazing the human body is. Anyways, back to airflow. So air continues down the trachea and enters the bronchi. From there it enters into smaller bronchioles and finally into the alveoli, which are surrounded by a network of capillaries. And this, folks, is where the magic happens. Oxygen enters the alveolar sac and the gas exchange occurs. Capillaries give up their waste carbon dioxide and pick up oxygen. Carbon dioxide is then exhaled through the air passage the oxygen was inhaled through, and the oxygen picked up by the blood returns to the heart. During this breathing process, the diaphragm is busy as well, contracting as we breathe in, which allow the lungs to expand, and relaxing as we exhale. Some minor respiratory disorders include the common cold, influenza, acute bronchitis, which is inflammation of the bronchi, and pneumonia, which is inflammation of the bronchioles and alveoli. Some of the more damaging disorders include chronic bronchitis, where the bronchi become inflamed and narrowed, mainly caused by tobacco smoke, emphysema, where the alveoli become overstretched, and lung cancer, which in almost 9 out of 10 cases is caused by tobacco smoke. What can you do to maintain or improve respiratory system health? Maintain a healthy weight. Excess weight compresses respiratory muscles and puts more stress on your lungs. Drink plenty of water. Dehydration can cause the mucus lining your airways to thicken and become sticky, making you more susceptible to illness. Consume foods rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, such as fruits, veggies, and nuts, which can help reduce inflammation and fight oxidative damage. Limit exposure to common allergens, such as dust mites, pollen, and animal dander. Maintain good hygiene. Many respiratory viruses are transmitted because of bad hygiene and poor hand washing. Don't overconsume alcohol. It dehydrates the body and weakens the immune system. Get more active. Regular aerobic activity can help your respiratory system. Add indoor plants. Plants have been shown to help improve air quality. Bottom line time. As you can see, the respiratory system has a major impact on overall health. As you may already know, breathing is kind of important. So, eat a healthy diet, maintain an active lifestyle, and keep up good hygiene. Remember, folks, be happy and be healthy.